welcome to Your Mac Life for Wednesday, October. Look, I've got it all screwed up. My poor wife is out of frame. I've got her messed up. Just a second. We get straightened out. Here, wait. Because I have to make her look as lovely as humanly possible. There you go. That's better. Hi, I'm Shawn King.
Hi, I'm Melissa King. Oh, my goodness.
This is Your Mac Life.
Pandemic brains.
Oh, God, no kidding. Show number 1,251 for April the 15th, the middle of April. Tax Day! Here in the Western... I don't know, what is Tax Day in the UK? Germany. Europe. It's not Tax Day, though, because no one's paying taxes this year.
Oh, no, they have to... I don't have everything to pay my taxes.
That's right. Yeah, we haven't got the documentation. On tonight's show, we'll talk to our good friend Jim Dalrymple of The Loop at loopinsight.com. We'll talk about, he's back in California. I'm curious to know what the procedure was for him to get back across the U.S. border and under his bridge in Northern California. Apple announced the new iPhone SE. We'll get his and your thoughts on that. Will Apple kill off Beats? There was a rumor a couple of weeks ago that Apple was going to kill off the Beats brand, and we'll talk about a little bit about that. And then from the two shows previous, we're going to talk about, did Apple copy this guy's photo? Speaking of photos, I want to remind you guys that I'm doing my photography classes online again. Seems like with all this Zoom meeting stuff, it's perfect. If you want it, for Your Mac Life listeners, it's usually a $100 class, and we do it online, $50. Send me an email, Shawn at yourmaclifeshow.com. $50, 2-hour class, beginning photography, DSLR photography, or iPhoneography. $50. Send me an email, Shawn at yourmaclifeshow.com. Melissa has been doing a lot of Zoom meetings over the last week or so. And one of the things I was very curious about was, do you think, one of the things that you see a lot of conversation about is what will change when things go back to normal? And from an office point of view, what do you think is going to change for the general office worker types? You guys have been doing I think it's Thursday morning, you go into the office at 9 o'clock.
Every other Thursday.
And you have this long, 4 or 5 hour meeting.
It's 9:30 till lunch.
Yeah.
12:30,
So you have these long meetings. Do you think that's going to change for you guys? Because you're having Zoom meetings now with the same people, right?
Some of the same people and more.
So do you think that will continue? Do you think in general, will that continue for offices, or do you think, and then specifically for you guys, do you think will continue?
No, I think I need to go to I use those days to go, okay, it's our meeting day, and then I'll do prep and stuff in the afternoon. So I need to be on site at the office because I get
so there's still
done.
Things.
And we have our admin assistant come in on Thursdays, and she needs to kind of do all of her stuff, and we need to be there for her too.
You are a little bit unique because your job allows you a lot of freedom outside of your office. You don't go into the office every day and sit there from 9 to 5 kind of thing.
Oh, no.
Do you think that for the people who do that, either at your job or at other jobs, that's going to continue? Do you think people are going to have the opportunity to work from home more now because of all this?
Oh.
Or do you think we'll go back to the way it was on January 2nd, 2020?
I think we'll go back to the way it was. I think it's a great opportunity as long as it's secure. Like, I wouldn't do it for some of the things that I do because I'm healthcare, but I would. Maybe it would be more of an option now where a family might say, I would like some support, but I would like it just via Zoom, especially for our very medically fragile children who, one boy that I work with is not going back until there's a vaccine.
Yes, because he can't take a chance.
And he's incredibly fragile and disabled, but he's incredibly bright. So we have to keep his education going. And he has a right to that education. So.
Monty says, sadly, I think way too many places will force going back to the way it was. We've already heard stories of people having their managers complain that they're not as productive at home as they were in the office. And while that's probably true, if you're a manager saying that, you're a colossal asshole. This isn't like this was planned and people had 2-3 months to get themselves ready for this, and then you did it. It was like, okay, tomorrow don't come to work. Still do your job, but don't come to work. You can't expect 100% productivity from your employees. There was a story I read one of the advice columns that the manager wrote into the advice column saying, "My employee isn't nearly as productive as she was in the office. She's at home with a toddler." Fuck you.
You tried at home with a toddler, dude.
You're a complete asshole.
We were very blessed. We have incredible, very supportive administrators. Like, they're saying, you're going to pace yourself. We're in a fog here. We don't really know what we're doing, and we're just going to support each other. And it's starting to build now. It's getting busy as we're all navigating this new world. And now I have a to-do list going, and I'm busy. I'm going to get busy. So we needed time.
I think one of the important things that your job needs to do is tell you those things. Don't expect to be 100% productive.
And that's reinforced to us. And I even brought up saying, well, now where I'm at home with a kid that I got to get him working on his school. And it's just like, we're being flexible. You just do what you need to do, but just get the work done that you need to get done. We're very, very lucky.
I think, sadly, though, there will be far too many places with companies, managers, directors who are too insecure to allow their workers to do that. They want people to be able to see them. There was these awful stories of people being forced to turn Zoom on, even though they weren't in a Zoom meeting, just so the manager could watch them. Just so that he could see that, oh yeah, so-and-so's at their desk doing stuff.
Whoa, that's just...
those people are a lost cause. You're going back to the office.
Well, and if you're that mum with the toddler, you don't want to be at home trying to divide your attention between a toddler and your work. She would want to go back to the office. Or I guess be able to take her child to grandma or childcare and do her work from home, I guess.
Monty says, where'd it go? Lost it. Brad's office has already suggested that after this, they go to a telecommute Friday and Monday.
Yeah.
Only be in the office Tuesday or Thursday. It's at least
what
a
a
start.
lovely thought.
Not perfect, but it's a start. Yeah, it's not going to work for everybody. There's obviously some jobs that it just didn't work for. But for so many people who work in offices, it might work. And hopefully your job will give you the flexibility to do that. The problem is so many insecure managers and companies think, the employees will just slack off on those days. But if you give employees tasks and say this has to be done by this date, what do you care if they...
What if you put your laundry in while you're working? Who cares?
Yeah, who cares?
It's actually, to me, it decreases stress. It can create more connection with family. And I love the idea of going Mondays and Fridays. People can do their Zoom days at home. Like, it's good to go in because you need to go into the office and build your connections and your relationships and have access to things that are there. Like, I've gone to my office once. It was just me and my colleague. But I love that idea of shortening the commuted work week.
Yeah. The other thing, too, is there is a lot to be said for going into the office. It's a social thing. It's a camaraderie thing.
Yeah.
It is a bonding thing, if that's the kind of job.
Yeah, and you do need to build those relationships.
I certainly miss going into every now and then. I miss going to an office on a regular basis.
Yeah.
I remember when I did work in an office, I just enjoyed that. You walk in, there was the receptionist. Hey, Susie. You walk in. Hey, Jimmy. What are we working on today, guys? And the water cooler conversations and at lunchtime.
And just those little jokes and you build that relationship outside of asking that person to do things for you all the time. Like Kate Turner, she does so much, and I just love to connect with Kate. Plus, our office often is filled with puppies.
That helps a lot, doesn't it?
It's really great.
It is going to be interesting to see what changes and not just in a job point of view, but Melissa and I were talking about this last night, is anyone outside the U.S. who's been listening to horror stories of how many people are now A, unemployed, and B, unemployed without health care. We saw the John Oliver story a couple of Sundays ago with the EMT. He's an EMT, emergency medical technician. He's an ambulance guy. He's a paramedic. Has no health care. He has to go to work. So if someone has coronavirus, he has to go to them. If he catches it, he can't afford not to go to work. So what he does is he goes to work sick. Like, so many people have to go to work because of their job, because of health care, because of all these. And it would be really nice to think that America will come on the other side of this thinking, yes, let's take care of these people. We call them essential workers, so let's pay them like they're essential workers.
I think that doctors, nurses, all the hospital essential workers, if they do have student loans, they don't have student loans anymore.
Yeah.
They get wiped out.
But it depends on what you define as an essential worker. I'd say grocery store clerks have been designated
Well,
as
they
essential
should
workers.
be given bonuses,
Yep.
and they should. I think we've gone well when we are in the store. And when I was in the store quite a while ago, I'd say thank you for working. Like
Yep.
we are so grateful to you. But I worry about those people
Yeah.
standing there with. Oh, I go to the gardening store. And
Yeah.
yeah.
I think it's a sad state of affairs that we have to even have this discussion. But the fact that so many of these people are making minimum wage, and yet we expect them to be there every single day, literally risking their lives,
Yes, they are.
so we can get food, and we can go to McDonald's and go to the drive-through and get the garbage picked up and all those things. I wish there was I saw any kind of groundswell of, hey, let's rethink the fact the minimum wage is in the U.S. Federal minimum wage is $7.25 an hour, and that's obscene.
I mean, I was working for $7 an hour when I came to Canada over 30 years ago at Stewart's Bakery on Granville Island.
C. Pleasure says, I have an HR person that tried to fire one of my coworkers for not showing up for 3 days. They've been diagnosed with COVID-19, had notified the supervisor, and the HR asshat just wanted to get rid of them.
HR can be asshats,
Yes,
I
they
have
can.
to say.
Yeah, Dave D., I love the fact that so many of these undocumented migrants are now essential. We need people to get food out of the ground because it's harvest season in places. And you don't realize how important these people are until they stop doing those little menial tasks for us.
Exactly.
Imagine if your school wasn't getting cleaned, or if your office wasn't getting cleaned, or there wasn't the grocery store clerks. There was only one grocery store clerk, the manager. Everyone else was off sick or staying home. It's not a good situation. Hopefully, everyone else. How are you guys managing all this stuff? Those of you who are in offices, are you telecommuting? Are you Zooming? Tell us about your experience. Are some of you unemployed? Let us know about that situation for you too. What are you going to say? Sorry.
Well, C. Plater says that she is getting as much done from home as from work.
Yeah. Well, that's spectacular.
It's
and
great.
that being the case,
That means that we'll keep doing it.
yeah,
after.
you can
What's
make
the
a
matter
serious
with that?
argument with your boss going, I don't need to waste my time commuting.
And the gas that you were saving and the stress of the commute, if it is a stressful commute, which commutes usually are, unless you're on your bike or something.
Folks, later in the show, we're going to have our starting point photography segment. We're going to talk about, did Apple copy this guy's photo? If you can't stick around, I'll tell you, no, they didn't. But up next, we're going to talk to our good friend Jim Dalrymple of The Loop at loopinsight.com. This is your Mac Life. Welcome back, folks. Thank you guys very much for joining me here on this Wednesday evening. As always, joined by our friend Jim Dalrymple of The Loop at Loop Insights. You've known someone for a long time when they say on the phone the first words, you go, "You're drunk, aren't you?" And they go, "Uh-huh." When did you start drinking today?
Well, sometime after midnight last night.
That's right. Some point in the last 24 hours.
But I am home.
Good. That's what we want to talk
Yes.
about. What was the process like? It was 2 weeks ago, you and the lovely Erica. By the way, I never asked this question. I know you proposed in Mexico. Did she say yes?
I never actually waited for the answer. Right?
Just went on the assumption, right?
I just said, here, and then that was it. So
Exactly. Oh, well, maybe you should check.
I'm going to send you this. I'm kind of afraid to check.
Yeah.
I just texted you a picture, and now this is about the process. So I will tell you about the process now. So I read in United's website that when you leave Puerto Vallarta, they will do a 2-stage check on your health. And when you arrive in San Francisco from Puerto Vallarta, they will also do a 2-stage check.
Okay.
The first stage is temperature. If you fail the temperature check, then you go see like a doctor.
Yeah.
And if you're if the doctor says, there's something wrong with you, then they basically put you in a cab and say, screw off.
Yeah.
So we got to the airport in Puerto Vallarta, and nothing.
Oh, geez, really?
Just walked right through.
Oh, geez.
Because there was nobody there.
Yeah.
I mean, there were no planes there, just our plane.
Yeah.
So then we landed in San Francisco. There was nobody in customs, in immigration.
Are you
So
kidding?
nobody. So we, the international terminal, we walked straight through into customs, walked out, got our bags, and walked outside. The picture I just sent you is from outside the international terminal at 5:30 at night when our plane get in. We are the only 2 people on the that is the departures lounge.
Wow.
The departure outside. We are the only 2 people. There are no buses, no workers, no cabs, no lift, no nothing. We are the only 2 people there.
And that looks like it's at, 5 o'clock in the afternoon?
Yeah, it's 5:30 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Yep. Now, when there were only 12 people on our flight.
Yeah.
So, there wasn't a lot of people to get through, but we made it through because we were sitting up front. So we made it through quicker than anybody else. So perhaps there could have been, after we got picked up, 2 more people there. But when that picture was taken, we are the only 2 people at San Francisco International.
Is that scary for you? Do you think do you think, oh, yay? Or do you think, oh, shit?
Well, I'll tell you, when I got to the immigration line, I thought, oh, yay. When I got outside and looked around, I thought, oh, shit. Like the apocalypse has hit.
Yeah, no kidding.
Because, you've flown into that terminal.
Oh, yeah. It's busy as hell.
That terminal is huge. Yeah. Just so many people.
Yeah.
And to walk out, and it's like a dust bowl, to walk out and realize that you were the only 2 people in this, what would be on a normal day, that you can't even find a parking spot up there.
Yeah, that's right.
And it's completely empty. So we immediately came home, dropped off our bags, because being good travelers, the 2 weeks previous to when we left, we went out grocery shopping, bought just enough food for 2 weeks, and ate it all.
Yeah.
So I couldn't find a can of peas in my house. I mean, I was thinking I was going to have to dig through my beard for blueberry muffins and stuff, And we had to go out grocery shopping.
Yeah.
And that's when we really started to see what people have been living through here, because there was nothing on the shelves.
Yeah.
Nothing. It was crazy.
We're lucky here.
And
Sorry, go ahead.
not to mention, and I should mention this because I'm a bit upset about it.
Okay.
Somebody pilfered my shopping cart under the bridge while I was gone.
Rat bastards.
Yep.
Was that Bob?
It was Bob.
I thought so.
I know it was,
yep.
because I had half of a sleeping bag. I had, one of those old fisherman knit sweaters that they wear in the fishing boats.
Cable knit. I love those.
Yeah. Took that. That's gone. Yep. I had packaging for an old iPhone. There was no iPhone, just the packaging. But took that.
There's just no honor among hobos.
No, none.
It's
none.
A shame.
So I lost so much stuff.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
We'll start a GoFundMe for you. Speaking of
that, that's going to buy more beer.
Speaking of that, I didn't even write about this 2 weeks ago when it came up because it just pissed me off so much. But there was this story that Apple, Leonardo DiCaprio, and Lauren Powell Jobs had set up a GoFundMe for Feed America type thing. They donated, between the three of them, Apple, the company, Lauren Powell Jobs, one of the richest people on the planet, certainly in America, and Leonardo DiCaprio, who's just a poor 100 millionaire, donated, among the three of them, $12 million. Then set up a GoFundMe trying to raise the other $3 million to get a $15 million GoFundMe to help feed America. Noble cause by them, but $12 million between the three of them. To me, that's offensive. Do you?
No.
Why not?
No, because what they're trying to do is to get everybody involved.
Yeah.
So they put up, 95% of what's needed, and they want other people to get involved with that. Could any one of them? No, don't even go. It's not the responsibility of these people to feed everybody in the world.
I agree.
It's not.
I agree.
You and I differ so much about this, and this is where your crazy NDP Canadian stuff comes out in you. I mean, it's not their responsibility. They gave $12 million, and they want other people to help them and to get involved. And I don't disagree with it.
Lauren Powell Jobs herself is worth $23 billion.
Okay.
Now, no offense to the ex-Mrs. Jobs, she didn't earn any of that.
I don't agree with that either.
It was all given to her by her late husband.
No, she earned every penny of that.
She was not. Well, yeah, okay. You're right. I've met Steve. I see what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
Look.
But still.
Lauren is an extremely intelligent woman.
Yes, she is.
So I would not knock anything or the contribution that she helped with Steve.
But the contribution is $12 million divided among three very, very rich people. If it had all been Lauren Powell Jobs, if she had donated $12 million, I still would have been pissed about it. You know why? Because $12 million, when you're worth $23 billion, is the equivalent of, wait for it, because I did the math, 0.07% of her wealth. Okay. It's the equivalent of someone who makes $40,000 a year donating $28. She donated shit. She gave shit.
Look, what she is, if somebody sets up a GoFundMe page for $30 and donates 28 of it, somebody is going to come in and pay the other $2. I'd do it just because I felt fucking bad. Okay, I'll give you the other $2. That's what this is. Because they're talking to the entire world here. They're talking to, or the entire United States. They're saying, look, we'll put up 12 million of the 15. Come help us out. I think you're looking at this all wrong.
I would respect all three of the parties a whole lot more if they donated a significant to them amount of money. To you and me, $12 million, that's the rest of our lives. We're good. And that's
I don't. I can't even live that long.
exactly on my lifestyle now. There's no way I could spend $12 million. But what I'm saying is, as a function of their income, they donated a pittance. You want to be taken seriously? Donate $100 million. And by the way, $100 million from Lauren Powell Jobs is 1.7% of her earnings. It's still nothing.
Okay, Canada. I mean, come on, Shawn.
No,
I mean, you're just so wrong.
I'm not wrong.
It's
If you're
it's
gonna do something, do
it's
it.
not okay. Then maybe they shouldn't do it at all.
I would prefer that.
Okay.
I honestly would. I would respect
Well,
you. I wouldn't
and
have to think about it. Now I
and
respect you
then
less because you're only
and,
giving 0.07% of your income.
and now the people that are going to actually eat from that 12 million people will be pissed at you.
But if you're going to donate $12 million and feed X numbers of people, how many more people can you feed with $100 million? And it's not going to make a difference to your wallet, is what I'm saying. You can imagine how many more people you could
Shawn,
feed with $100 million.
the U.S. government just pulled $2 trillion out of its ass. No, literally, it did. I mean, come on, they didn't have $2 trillion. They just here's $2 trillion, and they gave it away. So it's not the individual millionaires and billionaires' problem to shoulder the burden of feeding people. That's not the burden.
I understand. Let's move on. Apple announced the much rumored iPhone SE, not the frickin' stupid iPhone 9. I said that from the very beginning that we're never going to call it the iPhone 9. The iPhone SE, what are your first thoughts about this announcement today?
First thoughts was that it filled a spot that Apple needed to fill.
Yep.
It's certainly. I mean, when I look at the SE, and here is the big thing about the SE for me, and it was about the last one too, is that they put the latest chip in this phone.
Yes.
They're not trying to hamper performance and knock the price way down. They're trying to give everybody a powerful phone, 12 megapixel wide camera in the back.
Yep.
They have all of the portrait modes, the lighting modes in there. I mean, this is a great phone.
Yep, I agree.
And you can't. I don't see how anybody could argue that it wasn't a great phone. Now, there's a lot of people that may say, well, it doesn't have Face ID. Yeah, but there's a lot of people that would say, I'm glad it doesn't have Face ID. People have been yelling for a phone that has a home button. Well, now you have a phone that has a home button.
And you can't have everything. Sorry, kids, you can't have everything. You can't have a low price and Face ID and night mode and 3 camera lenses and. People are bitching. People are bitching. It doesn't have a headphone port. Well, pull your head out of your ass. Doesn't have USB-C. Come on.
I'm surprised you don't want one for free, and you can give it to all the other people, and
oh dear.
Yeah. So no, I really like. I think that the last iPhone SE in 2016, which by the way is the exact same price as this one.
Yes.
4 years later,
yep.
$399. I think that they did an incredible job with that one, and they did an incredible job with this one. And to me, it all comes down to putting in the fastest processor. They put in a not just a good camera. I think they put in a great camera.
Yeah.
They're allowing people to have all of those effects and things in there in the camera. And, so the processor and the software mean that this phone is going to be supported for years to come.
Yep.
It's not like you're buying a cheap ass phone that is not going to be supported in a year. This phone will be supported for years to come. It's great.
Are there any negatives to it from
Well,
a realistic point of view?
Well, from a realistic point of view, what I think, no,
Yeah.
there really aren't, because if you start picking out negatives with a phone like an iPhone SE, then you're starting to pick up technologies that you would want in a better iPhone. Well, they have a better iPhone.
Yeah.
You just need to be able to pay for that. If you can't, I mean, you can't say that, well, I wanted, it's got a Retina HD display.
Yep.
You can't, what are you going to say about that? Well, I wanted it 5 inches instead. Come on. You can't pick out things. I wanted a dual camera. Okay, well, there's a dual camera. It's the iPhone 11.
Yeah.
Go buy it.
Yeah.
So once you start picking out things that are wrong with the SE, then I think you're just being silly, because they put this phone out for a specific market.
Well, that being the case, you just called the New York Times silly. Their article, Why Apple's New iPhone Doesn't Matter. New smartphones have become like refrigerators. They're just not that exciting.
Who wrote that?
It wasn't Brian Chen, believe it or not, of the New York Times. It was Shira Ovid, whoever the hell that is.
Yeah, well, read that to me again.
The headline, Why Apple's New iPhone Doesn't Matter. New smartphones have become like refrigerators. They're just not that exciting.
I see. So she clearly, I mean, this is just me coming from what she's saying.
Yeah.
Clearly, in her spare time, she runs $1 billion company and knows exactly what will sell and what will not sell.
Yep. Clearly.
So, I mean, it seems clear to me.
It's obvious, yeah.
No, see, I think people like that are so wrong, and I think that they're I'm assuming it is a she, right?
Yes.
Okay, so she is wrong, because it seems to me that she was expecting the iPhone 12,
Possibly.
not the iPhone SE. I mean, we all knew that when a new iPhone SE came, whether it was last year or this year, whatever, it was going to have, and following along from the last one, the latest chip, a good camera, a good screen. Is it going to be the best of everything? No.
Yeah.
Well, is that exciting to you as a New York Times writer? I guess not.
Yeah.
But it's not the same. It's different. It's remarkably different from the other iPhones that are on the market. And it is remarkably differently priced than the other iPhones on the market.
Yes.
So just because you may be able to go out and buy an iPhone 11 Max and it's 1% of your salary and you just don't care, well, a lot of people can't.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are in the ecosystem already with an iPhone 7 or an iPhone 8. Now they can get an iPhone SE with all of that power. That is a magnificent boost for them, for those people. So, this is what we've talked about before, where people look at these products from a techie person standpoint.
Yeah.
And I think that's very unfair.
C. Plater in the IRC chat room says these asshats have to write a negative story about Apple because that's what gets the clicks. And
you're right.
But in general, I would agree with him. Except this is the New York freaking Times. We expect more and better from them. This is the kind of dumb shit I'd expect from The Verge or Vox or BuzzFeed or Mashable or any other of those websites where they just want the clicks. They don't actually care what they write about. The New York Times, their reputation, if not in fact, is of someone who wouldn't write these kind of clickbait articles, but they so often do. Brian
Yeah.
Chen is notorious for it. Farhad
Yeah.
Manjoo before him was notorious for it. Writing these things.
Where did he go?
Oh, who knows? Who cares? I think he still writes the Times, but I blocked
Yeah, I
I
think he
blocked
does.
his name out of Twitter, so I don't never to see it again. But objectively, you have to look at these kinds of things objectively, and not from a techie point of view, because objectively, and I can't believe I'm saying this, you have to believe the Mashable headline. After I just slammed them, the iPhone SE could be the most important Apple phone to come out this year. That's in fact the truth. I
That is
can
the truth.
promise you this will be the number one selling phone of Apple in the year 2020, if only because they'll sell it for a lot longer period of time. But
No, agreed.
the price point of this is spectacular. The quality of that camera is spectacular, given what it is. There is no way this thing isn't going to sell in droves. The only reason why Apple won't sell more is because the retail stores aren't open.
Yeah. Well, and I said that in the last paragraph of what I wrote today. I see no reason why this isn't going to be one of their best sellers. And, they could have taken and put in a 6-megapixel camera. Yep. They didn't have to be a wide camera.
Yep.
They could have put in a regular camera. There are so many things that they could have done to cheap out on this camera. And, I mean, honestly, even if it's 6-megapixel camera, well, that's still good. But they could have done so much, and they didn't. And I think that's what people. I would like to see the actual sales numbers and sit down with the New York Times reporters and say, okay, let's talk. And they would still hold on to their what they said. Yeah. I know they would, but. It's not true. I don't think that the people that do this truly understand the market.
Yeah, exactly.
Of what Apple is trying to accomplish here. And if they don't understand the market, they shouldn't be writing about it.
Especially for the New York Times. I think an article like that shows a fundamental misunderstanding of the cell phone market in general, Apple specifically, the previous versions of the iPhones, things like the upgrade cycle that's going to happen with people who have an old 6 or even a 7, the price point, the fact that when you buy an iPhone, 97% of people are going to buy another iPhone. So just look back 2 or 3 years ago, and that number of people are going to buy another iPhone, and this is the perfect one. So this person literally should not be writing for the New York Times. They should barely be writing at all. PC World, maybe. Go and write for PC World, or go write for Rob Enderle.
When Erica got up this morning and said, what's happening, I told her about the phone, and her first response is, that's what I should get for the kids.
Yeah.
Now, keep in mind now, both of her kids are in their early 20s.
Yep.
But that's what I should get for the kids. Yeah, you're right. At $399 with all of that it has, you're absolutely right.
And that $399 doesn't even include a trade-in. You trade it in, I think it's $229 if you trade it in.
That's and I put that in too. That $399, but if you trade in, you get a little bit extra going on there.
Yep.
I mean,
it's insane that anyone could. Sorry.
And I'm sorry, the person that commented earlier about the clickbait headline is absolutely right, because when us included, all of us that are listening and talking here, you hear something about the iPhone SE has a problem. Forbes was famous for doing that.
Yes.
But we've all caught on to Forbes, so we don't click on those anymore. But you don't expect it from the New York Times. And you click on it, and then they think, oh, that's what works.
Yep. The only knock that anyone could have about the iPhone SE, I think, is screen size. Some people wanted a significantly smaller screen size for smaller hands, but that's not going to happen. Apple is not going to go back to the iPhone 5 or iPhone 4 screen size. The market has spoken. The vast majority of people, I'm talking 90% of people, want a bigger screen or get used to a bigger screen very quickly. Melissa has
Yeah.
relatively small, girlish hands, and she's got the iPhone XR, and it's a big phone for her. But she, after a while, got used to it and manages it, and can't imagine going back to an iPhone 5 size. So yes, people do want one, but there's certainly not enough of them to make a multi-billion-dollar market that Apple's going to shoot for. So forget about a small version of these kinds of phones. Apple's just not going to do it.
Well, and it's an inch bigger, not even an inch bigger, diagonally.
Yeah.
You know, so those people that want a small phone, here you go.
Yep.
And the 4-inch phone, that was 4 years ago.
Exactly.
That was popular. Now it's a bit bigger. Like you said, the market has spoken. I mean, this is it. You don't want it, go buy a flip phone.
Yep, exactly. Let's move on. There was a couple of rumors about 10 days ago that I posted about up on The Loop. Will Apple kill off Beats or not? I more had a story. There are rumors that Apple will kill off Beats. I say good riddance. And 9to5 Mac says Apple has no plans to phase out its successful Beats hardware brand. What do you think about this? Well, I remember when Apple bought Beats, about 5 years ago now, we thought, a lot of us thought within 6 months they were going to kill Beats. But now, 5 years later, do you think there's any chance of Apple killing off that particular brand?
Well, if I'm not mistaken, in that article that you wrote, now keep in mind that I was heavily intoxicated at the time because I was in Mexico when you did this.
Fair enough.
So if I can remember the blurred words that I read, you made the very good point of saying that Beats headphones was a lot about celebrity endorsements.
Yep.
Right. And you made a very valid point there, because the only one to really do something like that or try to do something like that before was Bose.
Yeah.
And Bose didn't really catch the whole, LeBron James and, that crowd of people. Beats did a remarkable job. I think probably more in this respect, more because of Dre than Jimmy.
Absolutely, yeah.
They did a remarkable job of marketing and endorsements. And, are Beats headphones good? No.
Yeah. I
don't like them. I've sat down with the Beats team and told them how much their headphones suck. I have. We had a beer, and I don't like them. They suck.
Yep.
So,
what did they say to that?
Oh, they tried to argue that they don't suck, and I said, "Well, you're wrong. Maybe you don't know music. I don't know. They suck.
Yeah.
They do not sound good.
Yeah.
I can give you headphones that do sound good. Listen to them, and you'll now know that your headphones suck.
Yeah.
I know that when Apple bought Beats, we all agreed that they bought them for Jimmy, basically. Not even for Dre.
Yep.
They would have kicked Dre out in a heartbeat, but the endorsements, the other things that they have going on with Beats, maybe it's a testing ground. I don't know. But Apple doesn't go after the endorsements like Beats does. I mean, you don't see, because Apple doesn't have to. You see athletes all over the world, the best soccer players in the world, hockey players, basketball, wearing AirPods Pro. They don't have to do endorsements. They just have to put a product out, and people are going to buy it. So, there's a big difference there too. But how much money does Apple make from selling Beats headphones? I can't imagine.
I think they've got to at least be $1 billion company.
Well, okay. Now let's look at how much money Apple makes.
But it still allows them to have that end of the market. Those in the know that Beats are by Apple. Those who don't or who don't like Apple can still feel okay about buying Beats and not, air quotes, supporting Apple. If you're a Windows user and hate Apple, you can still buy Beats. But I don't think it's got anything to do with that. Someone tried to make that argument on the Loop article I posted. I think it's all about fashion. Unless Apple has some sort of indication that the fashion aspect of Beats is tailing off, if some other brand is coming to the fore, Bose or Sony or whoever else, and Apple can't fight that back, then they would possibly drop the Beats brand. But as long as Beats is the fashion headphone, as long as LeBron is wearing them, as long as whoever the next up-and-coming basketball, football, soccer star is wearing them, whether Apple pays them to do it or not, I think Apple will continue having the Beats brand around just to be cool and hip to that aspect of the consumer market.
I think that Apple has to pay people to wear Beats because they suck as headphones. So
yeah, but hang on now.
They have to.
No, because not everyone knows they suck. This is one of the most interesting things I've ever seen with regards to this. You don't know something sucks until you've heard something better. I didn't know that my in-ear buds sucked until I got good in-ear buds. I went, holy shit, I can hear stuff. I thought the ones I had before sounded okay. They were bassy, and I knew the music, and it was fine. But it wasn't until I got something better. So maybe LeBron's never heard a good set of headphones. It's not necessarily something that yes, he can afford a $10,000 set of gold-plated headphones, but he just wants something.
It's not about that, though.
But
LeBron, give me a call, man. We'll talk.
We'll talk. But I don't think it's the average person who buys them knows that they don't sound as good as something that costs $100 more or $500 more or whatever it might be.
Yeah. Okay. Solid point.
Thank you very much. But I don't think Apple is going to kill off Beats anytime soon. There's no need for it.
Well, no. Apple develops all this technology for AirPods Pro and things like that, and then they take their sucky technology and give it to Beats.
Yeah. It's tough to know how to lead into this one. This is another sad story from Macworld. News analysis from Macworld. Should you consider buying the new iPhone SE or wait for the iPhone 12?
Jeez.
The iPhone 12 might cost more, but if you're going to be happy with it, you might want to wait. We know when it happened, but Macworld.com has become such a shit website with shit writers who write the dumbest iMore level of stuff. It's just appalling. Would you tell anybody who's interested in the iPhone 8 to wait for the 12 this September?
The iPhone SE?
Sorry, the iPhone SE? Yeah.
No.
I would.
Not at all.
I would. But I would tell them only if you want and need a better camera than what's available on the iPhone 8 right now. The iPhone 8 right now has got a very, very good camera. It's not as good as the iPhone 11, but it's a very, very good camera. And my wife, who loves taking photos, is perfectly happy with her iPhone XR and the photos that she takes with that. Me, not so much. I love the iPhone 11 Max Pro, whatever the frick it's called, cameras. So I would wait if I was in the market for a new iPhone for the camera. But otherwise, there's no reason for anyone to wait for the iPhone 12 if they need a phone today.
No.
It's a stupid article written by a stupid person that just, it offends me that Macworld has lowered themselves to the stupidest shit they possibly can.
But you have to expect this because, again, the person who wrote that article clearly doesn't understand what they're talking about.
Yeah.
Because if there are certain things that you want in any product, and you don't think that you're fulfilling everything that you want in one, then you move up to the next one.
Yep.
Does this give me what I want? Well, now you're at a higher price, but this phone is specifically for the people that don't want a higher price.
That's right.
But either want to come into the ecosystem or want to stay in the ecosystem. Maybe they have a 4-year-old phone.
Yeah.
And, they don't need a whiz-bang camera. I mean, let's face it. Let's be honest here. I do.
Yeah. Yeah, you absolutely you need as much help as you possibly can get.
I need the whiz-bang camera. So, because you've seen my pictures.
That's right.
They couldn't be taken on just any old flip phone.
That's right. You don't get that kind of quality by accident. You don't get that kind of craftsmanship just by luck.
So, that's what I don't know why these people are writing these types of articles when it seems clear to me that they either don't understand the product, or they don't understand the motivation, or they don't understand the customer. And that motivation goes both ways, the motivation for the company and the motivation for the customer. So there's one of those three things that these people just don't get. And if they thought about those three things, there's no possible way they could write the article that they've written.
Exactly.
I don't know.
Speaking of which, Cupertino needs to do more than offer free Apple TV content post-virus. Kudos to the freebies, but Apple will need to do much more to stay afloat.
What?
To stay afloat. Apple has to do more than just give out free Apple TV content. That article almost made my head explode.
Did you write that?
I'm not that stupid.
Okay. Who wrote that?
Brian Wolf at iMore.
Mm-hmm.
What makes people that now the content that Apple has offered up for free on Apple TV, that's a different story. We'll get to that in a second. But what makes this numbnut think that Apple has to do more to stay afloat?
Well, Apple's almost bankrupt now. I can guarantee it. Yeah, I mean, they're. If you have Apple stock right now, please do me. I'm going to do you a solid here. You call me, I will buy it from you, because I do not have any Apple stock.
God.
Yeah. See, I mean, this is the shit right here.
Yep, it is.
I mean, so Apple has its free content, its own free content, or $4.99. It's basically free. If you have any Apple product in the last year, you have free Apple TV. So they have their content out, which we've discussed ad nauseum about their content. I think it's great. And then, Epix came out and said, yeah, give our shit away too.
Yeah.
Wow. Really? Great.
But do you think that Apple should have opened up the entire catalog for free?
No,
I mean, it's only, yes,
they don't
why
have
not?
to do
Just
that.
do it.
Just
do
they
it.
don't have to do. Well,
They're
they're going
asses,
bankrupt as it is.
They're getting their asses handed to them by Disney Plus. Understandably
everybody's getting their asses handed to them by Disney Plus. I mean, come on.
So why wouldn't Apple? Because one of the things I was surprised about was Apple didn't release for free what I think is their best show out of the lineup. And I don't think the lineup is fantastic, but the morning show I think was the best, followed by Servant and then For All Mankind. The latter two are available, but the former isn't. I don't know if that's a mistake, but I do think just not letting everybody watch everything for a month. Just let it all open for a month. Not pick and choose, but let people watch all of it for a month, I think would go further than this pick and choose idea.
Apple doesn't have to do that, but
True.
Apple got all of these other stations to do a month free trial, and even you said in the thing that you posted about that, go watch these two shows. It's worth it just to have these two shows.
It absolutely
what
is.
was it? Penny wasn't one of them Penny something?
No, on Apple's listing, I would have said Servant and For All Mankind.
No. This was one of the other stations that Apple got to extend their trial from a week to a month. And you said, I'm going to grab this just for these two shows. And the two shows were like Penny, I don't know.
I've forgotten.
It was a thrill. Well, dipshit.
Okay.
Good God.
Thanks very much.
Well, see, I was drunk at the time, and even I remember that you said that.
I remember I said it. I don't remember which ones I was talking about.
Hold on. Good God.
I'm going through my list and see if I can't find what you're talking about.
You know what? I'm got one better than that. I'm going to Apple TV here. Penny Dreadful.
I never said that. Penny Dreadful's an awful show.
Oh, good God. I added it to my list because you said that you wanted to go watch it.
I said no such thing. I've seen Penny Dreadful. I thought it was boring.
Oh, my God.
Obviously,
now
you were
drunk. Go back through my list. Now I got to go back through my list. Great.
Oh, dear.
So.
Okay, got any questions for me?
You know what? Can I say something or are we done?
No, go ahead. Fine.
Okay. So, because I've got nothing to do for the rest of the night, so I'm just going to. I will tell you, when I got home from Mexico, I bought a subscription to every TV service I could find. I really did. Because I thought, what better time to do this than now?
Yeah.
Because if I go outside and touch somebody, I will die.
Yeah, exactly.
So I got Hulu and TV, live TV. I got Fubo. I got AT&T.
Oh, wow.
I downloaded Pluto, and
Jesus.
I downloaded Sling, and I mean, literally, I had subscriptions to everything you can possibly imagine on my TV. And you know what really got me was when I told Erica about all the stuff that I had done, and all the stuff that I had. And she changed the TV input back to Xfinity. And I'm thinking, what the fuck? Why did I go through like a week's worth of trials and everything for all of this? And you just flip it back to Xfinity.
That's right.
So yeah. So now I have to go find all those places and cancel them again.
Have you, on Apple TV, have you watched the latest Home Before Dark show?
I have not. That's next on my list.
We watched the first episode. It's surprisingly good. It's a kid's show.
I thought it would be.
Yeah, I would say it's G-rated. But the little girl is a great little actress. It's a true story. Obviously, the facts have been changed to protect the innocent or whatever. But it's very, very well done. The first episode that we watched over the weekend, I was very surprised and very pleased with how good it was. We're definitely going to watch more of it. That's for sure.
There's another one, Defending Jacob, that's coming out this month.
I haven't seen that one. I haven't seen The Banker either. The Banker was one that I was really looking forward to seeing, and for some reason we just haven't gotten around to watching it yet.
Yeah.
I haven't watched any of Little America. It doesn't.
No, I've watched a few of those.
Are they any good? I haven't bothered.
Yeah. Some of them are pretty good.
I'm not a big fan of immigrants, so.
Wait, what was that sound? Oh, that was the elevator to hell coming.
Express.
Oh my God! I mean, you already have a suite down there.
It's right next to yours, shithead.
If I could write a book, I would write about all the things that you're being sent to hell for, because
we got adjoining rooms.
I know all of them.
We got adjoining suites. Let me tell you that, pal. So fluff the covers when you get there first. I'll see you in a bit.
Yeah, there's it was a good show. I
Yeah.
think you would like that show. I mean, I think they're half-hour
Yeah.
episodes or something. They're
You know
not.
what? You know why I
Uh,
haven't watched it?
why?
Because the trailers make it look like pablum to me. You can see
Mm,
the feel goodness of the stories and they're predictable, and I can see
yeah.
the arc from the trailers. To me, there's no drama there. I know what's going to happen, and
No,
it's
you're
nothing about
right.
the immigrant story themselves. The immigrant story of America is an amazing, wonderful, incredible thing. But these stories, the way they're packaged, feel very saccharine to me, and I just didn't have any
Wait,
real interest in watching them.
wait a minute. A wonderful and exciting thing to me. This is the man that just said, "I don't like immigrants."
I was joking.
Uh huh. Yeah.
Immigrants
I don't.
are a vital part of Canada and the United States. Anyone who says anything different should go back home to the country he came from.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Wait. I think you just moved
Oh,
into my suite.
well, it's bigger. Oh dear. Oh my
Wow.
goodness. Do you have any
Well,
questions?
one of us has to stop drinking before the. So I actually do have a question for you.
Fire away.
And this is photography. So when you go out, let's say it's just you. A Saturday morning.
Yes.
Everybody's sleeping. You think, you know what? I just want to go out for a ride on my motorcycle, and I want to take a few pics of whatever I see in the hinterland. Do you take a camera with you? Do you take an iPhone, an iPad, computer? What do you take with you?
That, surprisingly enough, is an excellent question.
Well, of course it's an
It's
excellent fucking question because I do this for a living.
That's right. That's right. It's why
Jesus.
whenever someone says to me, "That's a good question," my first thought is, "Well, duh, it's my freaking job."
Jesus fucking Christ.
It depends on why I've gotten on the motorcycle. It depends on
No,
where I'm
no,
going. No.
I just told you why. I just told
No,
you
you
why.
haven't told me why.
I want to go for a drive and I'm going to snap a few pics on the way. Nothing crazy. I'm just going to, if I see something, I'm going to snap this picture. It could be a cow in a pasture.
If I'm
Uh,
going out to shoot photos, I bring my big camera. If I'm just going out, I bring the iPhone. If I'm going out specifically to be a photographer, I'm looking for photographic opportunities. I'm looking for that
what if,
cow in a pasture. I'm looking for that waterfall.
no, you're not looking for anything. You're going out for a drive on your motorcycle. And because you're probably going to argue with the farmer because that's what you would do. And you'll argue with everybody along the way. But you may actually stop along the way and take a picture because you see something. Would you take your camera, your iPhone, or your iPad, or a Mac
In my
with you?
mind, I'm thinking if I'm going out to take pictures, I take the big camera. If I'm
You don't listen
I'm
at all.
explaining to you how I do it. This is what I do. If I'm just going for the ride, I'm going for a fast ride on twisty roads, then I bring the iPhone. But if I'm going out to take photos and on the motorcycle, then I bring the big camera.
Okay. Now, do you ever edit photos on your iPhone or iPad?
Yes, every photo I post gets edited in some way, shape, or form.
No, iPhone or iPad.
Oh, iPhone. I haven't used my iPad in a year and a half.
Okay. What about the Mac?
The Mac, if I shoot it on the iPhone, I'll edit it on the iPhone. If I shoot it on the camera, I'll edit it on the Mac.
Okay.
You know why?
Because you can't get it on the iPhone.
I can get it on the iPhone. I could easily take the photos off my camera and put them on the iPhone.
Why then?
Because when I shoot with the big camera, I shoot in RAW. And the RAW file...
Well, that's what I just said. You can't get it on your iPhone.
If you would let me finish...
You
The
dumbass.
the raw file format allows me on my big monitor to edit more efficiently. But if I wanted to, I could take the JPEGs off the camera because I shoot both a RAW and a JPEG file. I could take the JPEGs, put them on my iPhone,
Oh
and
my
edit them
God.
there, but I wouldn't do that.
You won't even give me credit for nailing that one, because I did nail it. And now you're doing all this fancy talk.
It's not fancy
Oh
talk.
my God.
It's
I shoot RAW. I don't shoot JPEG. But I do shoot JPEG because I have them, and I could put that in my iPhone. So you're wrong. Oh my God.
my camera shoots both RAW and JPEG at the same time, simultaneously.
Again, I wonder why I answer the phone. I was having such a great night. And now, I answer the phone Wednesday night, same as always. Same time I answer the phone. And look what happens. Now I'm going to go throw my chicken against the wall.
That sounds like a euphemism. I'll let you go on that. You said you were alone, so you know what? You may have learned some new tricks down there in Northern California, dude. What you do in your personal life is on you. I don't want to know anymore. Throw my chicken against the wall. Okay, that's what you want to call it,
Hey, whatever gets you there.
Exactly. Folks, we're talking to Jim Dalrymple, The Loop, at loopinsight.com. He's here each and every week. Thanks, Jim.
Thanks, Shawn.
Talk later, buddy. See you.
Bye.
Yeah. Throw my chicken against the wall. Okay. Some things you just don't want to know about, and that was definitely one of them. Folks, when we come back, we're going to do our starting point photography segment. We're going to talk about, did Apple steal this guy's photo? And by the way, no, they freaking didn't. This is your Mac Life. Welcome back, folks. This is Your Mac Life. This is our starting point photography segment. I'm Shawn King. Thank you guys very much for joining us here this Wednesday evening, whether you're tuned in live or to the archive. By the way, I wanted to remind you guys, I'm doing the online classes again, beginning digital photography, the basics of photography, tips and tricks that you can learn. Basically, this is the same kind of stuff that we did in Lisbon last year. So if you couldn't go to Lisbon, I can come to your house. We can do it via Zoom or Skype or FaceTime or What are you laughing about?
Another Zoom meeting.
Another
in the
Zoom
house.
meeting, yeah. What we can do is beginning digital photography class, the beginning DSLR class, or the iPhone photography class. Usually the classes are $100 a piece, a person, but I'm offering up to YML listeners for $50 for a household. So you, your significant other, the kids, all gather around, social distancing in your own home, and watch and talk. It's a two-way thing. You guys will be able to hear me, I'll be able to hear you. We'll Zoom, and you'll learn more about photography. Send me an email to Shawn at yourmaclifeshow.com for more details. One of the things that every photographer fears, professional photographer fears, is when...
You gonna sneeze?
What are you drinking?
Hot chocolate?
And?
Baileys?
That's quite a lot of Baileys in there if I can smell it.
No, it's not. It's because it's warm and it's wafting.
It's bad enough I could deal with a drunk Jim Dalrymple. I could deal with a tiddly Australian.
Just having my little hot chocolate.
I'm teasing you.
It's my vice at the moment. In a way.
Baileys, yes, you
Craving
love your Baileys.
a Baileys.
That's a
hot
good
chocolate.
thing. Is there any other? You said before you didn't like Kahlua.
Oh, no.
I'm not a big Kahlua fan either. There's Baileys. There's something Irish cream.
Irish was.
No.
Oh, yes. We used to drink. It's a cheaper version of
Is it
Baileys,
cheaper?
really.
I've never been a big fan of any kind of liqueur, creamy liqueur.
No, I don't. But it just It just makes me relaxed, and I need that right now.
Teasing. So one of the things that photographers fear is having your photos ripped off. If you're a professional photographer and you sell your photos, having someone steal them off the web, off Instagram, off Flickr, whatever it might be, is terrifying because it costs money to fight these folks. Now, one of the things that a lot of people don't realize is, do you know what copyright is?
Yes.
What is copyright?
It's like a license. Isn't
No,
it?
it is not.
Oh. I mean,
Copyright-
you can't copy. If anything's copyrighted, you can't copy it for distribution.
And how does it get copyrighted?
You'll see a copyright with a little C with a circle.
Yeah, but how does that get on there?
Oh, I guess it's some purchase of some governmental kind.
Incorrect. Everything you create is copyrighted from the moment you create it.
Oh, how
Without you
interesting.
doing anything.
But how would it hold up in court?
It holds up in court by you saying, I can prove I own this thing and that they are using it without my permission. It's easier to prove if you actually go and get it copyrighted, but it costs money. I think it's $75 per
Who are you paying?
thing, U.S. government.
It's the government.
The U.S. Copyright Office. That's why you'll see at the end of a movie, copyrighted 2000 or whatever, that movie studio production company has sent a copy of their document to the U.S. government and saying, on this date, I created this, I own this, these are the rights that I have with this. If someone takes this, we're taking them to court, and because I did this official thing, we can get stupid amounts of money.
But you only do it once?
For one
Or do you-
for one thing.
For one each.
One
thing.
each. So if you take 10 photos, each photo has to be copyrighted. If I post a photo on Instagram and someone steals it and uses it, I can take them to court for copyright. But because I didn't officially with the government copyright, I get fewer damages. I can get, so let's say someone stole a photo and sold it for $100. All I can get back from them is $100. If you actually copyright it, send it to the government, you can get 3 times that.
Oh.
So if they sold it for $1,000, you can get $3,000. There's a couple of ways to protect yourself. One of the ways that I do is use an app. I interviewed them last year called Pixie, Pixsy. Pixie's free for the first 1,000 images. So you can link your Instagram, your Facebook, your whatever else accounts to Pixie, and they will go around the web looking for examples of your photo. And if they find it, they'll show you, they'll say, hey, is this your photo? Side by side. And you say, yes. You can tell Pixie, go tell those people to stop doing what it is. And Pixie can get money back. If they were selling the photo, my friend Jay Earl in Scotland, who's a very, very good motorcycle photographer, found that one of his motorcycle pictures from the British Grand Prix was being sold on a motorcycling website.
Wow.
He got Pixie to sue them And Pixie has their own lawyers. You don't pay the Pixie lawyers. Sue them, and Jared got $3,000.
That's cool.
Now Pixie got $3,000 because you get half, but Jared Earl wouldn't even known about it.
Wouldn't have known
If it hadn't been for Pixie. I had a couple of my photos taken. One of them in particular was I was at a Scandinavian midsummer thing, and they had a wife carrying competition. That was hilarious. And I went down to the end of the track, and I laid down on my stomach, and I shot up at the wife carriers as they were coming across a big water puddle. I got this great shot. This gorgeous couple. They were Scandinavian. They were big blonde, both of them just beautiful people, and it was a really good shot. And some school in Minnesota, high school in Minnesota, some kid apparently grabbed the photo, used it on their website. And I got Pixie to email the school, but I can tell Pixie what to do. So I told them, don't sue them or anything else again. Just ask them to put credit on it. Because there was no credit. There was no link back to my Flickr account. There was no link to Starting Point Photography. There was no indication that I was the one who had taken the photo. So Pixie just sent them an email, and I got an email back from the principal of the school saying, we apologize. The kids didn't know about it. He said, we'll do better at explaining to the kids what they can and can't take off the web. Great, fine, fantastic. A couple of days later, I got an email from the principal again, said we fixed the photo. I went to the website, sure enough, photo taken, Shawn King, Starting Point Photography.
Oh, that was respectful.
Exactly. That was all I needed. That's all I wanted. The problem comes when pictures are similar. So while you can copyright a photo, you can't copyright an idea. So you can't copyright a concept of a photo. So you can't say, I've taken a picture of my beautiful redheaded wife. No, I've copyrighted it. No one can take pictures of beautiful redheads ever again.
No, it's because it's just the concept of
the concept of it. So that's what this guy is trying to do. He is trying to get Apple to admit that they used his photos. It was on the Amazing Stories show, the new Spielberg show, and I'll show you these photos, these pictures. Let me get this stuff set up first. So there's, Melissa can see it now. So there's the photo that. Hang on, let me just make sure I'm doing this right. My image. I can't find out which one's which. Okay. So here's the photo that he thinks. That's his photo. He took this photo of his two kids. Okay, lovely photo. Nice photo.
Yes,
nice composition. I like the idea. The kids looking into the box, the light.
Lovely.
Here's the photo from the Amazing Stories screen grab. Now, it is two kids looking into a box that's got light coming out of it.
Not
the
two kids.
But exactly, it's not the two kids. This photo is not a copy of this photo. No. The concept is the same. The idea of two kids looking into a box with light coming out of it. You can't sue for a concept. He can't get away with this and have Apple give him monetary damages, even if that photo was copyrighted, even if he had sent it off to the copyright people. And that photo might have popped up in a Pixie match, because Pixie has fairly loose logarithms for matching photos. I got a photo that comes up all the time of the Chinese gate in Chinatown here in Vancouver. And it's a shot I took up the street with traffic going through the Chinese gate and the big, beautiful Chinese gate. But lots of cities have a Chinese gate that looks like that.
Everybody takes their picture.
And lots of tourists, exactly. Lots of tourists have taken that picture of that particular gate, so it pops up quite often. So I just ignore them. But you can't say that Apple duplicated or copied that image, because it's an idea of an image. It's not the image itself. So that's what you have to be careful about. You can't sue for the concept of the image. It's got to be an exact copy of the image. He could have used the same two kids. Apple could have used the same two kids. Let's say they were models, and posed them the same way. It still wouldn't have been the same picture. They still wouldn't be able to get away with that and say this is an exact copy of it. It's got to be pretty much a pixel for pixel copy of
And besides,
the
they
image.
took it, not the man.
That's right.
They
And that's
took
the other thing too is we won't name names here, but I went out with a photographer here on the Sunshine Coast, incredibly good photographer, and he wanted some pictures of himself because he's always behind the camera. So he asked me to take pictures of him. So he loaned me his camera, big beautiful Canon with a 7200 millimeter lens. This is not a camera I'm used to, but if you know the basics of photography, you can figure out the basics of almost any DSLR. And so we went out in the woods. And I took some pictures of him in the woods. And he posted the pictures on Instagram and didn't give me, the photographer, credit for the photos.
I think he said he tagged you.
His argument was, well, it was my camera. Doesn't matter whose camera it is. If I give Melissa my iPhone and she takes a picture, I don't own the copyright to that image. The person who takes the picture owns the copyright. The person who takes the picture is the creator of that image. And only the creator can decide what can be done with the image. Yes, you can sell it. No, you can't sell it. Yes, you can put it on Instagram. No, you can't put it on Facebook. It's my image. It's my property. I control how it gets used. So if you want to do this kind of stuff, go to Wikipedia and do a search for Creative Commons. Creative Commons is an organization that helps people with copyright, not professional photographers or movie studios, but average everyday people. And it allows you to limit the copyright, because right now copyright is all or nothing. It's no, you can use it, or yes, you can use it. Creative Commons has different degrees of copyright. So, for example, all my Flickr images are free to use with attribution and not for sale. So you can use my Flickr image as long as you put my name somewhere in it with a link back to my website. You can't use that image and sell it as one of your own, or even sell it at all. You can't even sell it saying, hey, this is a picture by Shawn King, give me $100 for it. You can't do that. But you can use it for free if you just want to play around with it, use it on your website or a newsletter or whatever. That's fine. Creative Commons can also say you can only use it if you pay me for it. Or Creative Commons says, I don't care. Use it however you want. Doesn't matter to me. So there's different levels, different degrees of copyright on Creative Commons. So check it out. Wikipedia, the best explanation of Creative Commons.
But couldn't you have remorse if you were very casual and then suddenly your photograph got usurped by a company because it was just represented exactly what they wanted it, and they put it everywhere,
and that's what you have to be careful of.
So you should be more diligent rather than...
For the photos that are near and dear to my heart, my strawberry photo, for example.
Yeah.
That is locked down completely with copyright.
Yeah, but like you show in your photography classes, some photographs that have made millions of dollars, everyone goes, meh.
Yeah, true. So. I'm still waiting to make millions off my strawberry. Emails, as always, love getting emails from you guys. Send us emails to Shawn@yourmaclifeshow.com. I'll do my best to read them out on the air. Our friend Scott Randall says, sorry you've been sick, but at least it's not COVID. He said, on the April 1st show, you talked about people whining about having to work from home. They should be happy they're employed and getting a paycheck. I worked from home when I taught online classes. I actually found it interesting and stimulating. When I was teaching full-time, I spent a lot of time working at home because it was impossible to get grading, creating tests, lessons done during school hours. Many Sunday mornings, I found myself spending 2 or 3 hours grading and making up exam papers. Later that day, I'd find time to spend with my kids. So I really don't see what these people are whining about.
I love that. What a wonderful... Wow.
Now, maybe 2 or 3 shows ago, you and Jim spoke about iPad Pro versus MacBook Air. I remember you discussing the possibility of an ARM Mac. Okay, the first, there is too much software I use that's not available for the iPad. Anything that is similar is too cumbersome and inefficient to use. That, of course, may change in the future. So the iPad solution is not for everyone. Now, unless I'm surprised, a lot of software will not work with an ARM Mac. Perhaps, though, they will come up with an interim solution like they did with going to Intel processors. Regards to everyone, and stay healthy, Scott. That's exactly what's going to happen, Scott. If and when Apple moves to ARM processors, they're going to do it one of 2 ways. They're going to cut it off right here and say everything before this date will only work on Intel Macs. Everything afterwards will only work on ARM Macs. Or more likely, they're going to have some sort of bridge between the two, where the software that you'll run on the ARM Mac will still, the software that you ran on your Intel machines will still run on ARM machines. It might run slower, you might run in emulation mode, but it will run for the most part. It's going to be up to developers to switch their software from Intel running software applications to ARM running software applications. And that could take time. Photoshop famously took, I think, 3 years before they had an Intel native version of Photoshop. So it'll be different levels of speed for other companies. Emily Ferguson in New England says, anybody got an app which converts video from one format to another? Looking for recommendations are free and reliable, not full of adware. I was using Real Player Converter, but doesn't work under High Sierra. I'm surprised it worked at all, Emily. The best thing to use, Emily, is an app called Handbrake. Handbrake is free. It is still one of the best pieces of software out there. It's what I use whenever I need to create longer files from .movs to MP4s or a whole bunch of different things like that, or AVIs to MP4s. Handbrake is the name of the software. Just do a search for Handbrake and the Mac version will pop up. Robert, no, I already read that one. I did it. I read that one. Folks, that's it for tonight's show. No, there's something else I want to talk to you about. What was it? Shoot.
Well, there is that funny story how Shawn saw this photograph one time and he said, "That's my photograph. It's my photograph." And he was so convinced it was his photograph. This was an interesting experience. It was a cherry blossom thing. And he was pursuing it with Pixie. Anyway, it turned out it wasn't his photograph. No. He had something similar, but it wasn't his photograph. And he was graceful and he apologized to the guy, remember? Which I admired you for.
It was very embarrassing.
Yeah.
What I had done, this was 5 years ago, I had seen this photo on a website and I wanted to go to the location. No, it was actually longer. It was like when I first moved back to Vancouver. So, 8 years ago. I'd seen this location. It's beautiful. Vancouver has got a lovely cherry blossom happening now. And there's some streets that are just nothing but cherry trees. At this time of year, you've got a canopy of cherry blossoms. And this photographer had taken a picture from one end of the street. And there's a long shot down this tunnel of cherry blossoms. It was a beautiful picture.
Beautiful.
And so I saved the picture. I saw it on the website. I saved it to my camera roll, thinking I'm going to go find that street.
Oh, yeah.
Years go by. I forgot about that. I see the photo.
And you go,
"Oh, that son of a bitch stole my photo." We'll prove it. It's on my camera roll. Oopsie. And I was sure I had taken that photo because I had taken that photo.
in your mind you had taken it.
No, I had actually gone to that location
Oh.
and taken the photo.
Oh.
But that wasn't the one that I was disputing with this guy. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't until I eventually found the photo I took and saw there was obviously there were different cars on the street. And I was
yes.
"Oh shit."
Yeah,
It's the wrong one.
I saw yours and it was different.
So embarrassing. I was so adamant that
But
I
you
was right.
apologized and
Yeah. I got the Pixie lawyers to back off. Yeah, it was not good.
yeah, you found the sniper assassin guy
Not
and
good
told
at
him
all.
to put it back in the
There was-
bag.
There was something. Let me see if I can. God damn it.
Oh, you can hear all the
7 o'clock.
all
Yeah,
the
7 o'clock.
essential worker noise.
No, I can't remember what it is. I'll try to remember for next week. Folks, don't forget, if you want to take photography classes, $50 for your household. Send me an email to Shawn at yourmaclifeshow.com. We can do it via Zoom or Skype or whatever you're comfortable with. I know that everyone has issues with Zoom, and I completely understand that. So $50 for the household. Send me an email, Shawn at yourmaclifeshow.com. Until next week, as always, I've been Shawn King.
I'm Melissa King.
And you've been listening to Your Mac Life. See ya!
See ya, bye.